This is the Dynasty Roundtable podcast, YouTube show. Thank you for tuning in because we have a very special guest this time around, and I don't know if you know this guy or not. I don't know. He's not that. I mean, he's good. He's good. Don't get me wrong, but no, I'm just kidding. I can't even joke around about this, but this is
I was like,
probably the
where
most.
are you going with this, Seth?
This is probably the. I never do know. That's the beauty of it. If you know
You're going
Fantasy
for April
Pros,
Fool's thing, and then you kind of U-turn. You're like, I don't want to go down that street. Anyway,
yeah. If you don't know DBro, you need to fix your life. Go over to Fantasy Pros. He is the king of bros. You can follow him if I can speak. You can follow him at DBro_FFB on Twitter. Derek Brown, DBro, thank you so much for joining us tonight to talk a little rookies. How are you doing?
doing good, boys. I mean, it's always a good time, Seth. I know on Fantasy Pros, usually, monitoring the ones and twos and dealing with me and Joe's bullshit. So, shout out to you for everything, man. I mean, look, busy. I know all of us are kind of in the throes. I know we're talking about rookies, but that's really what it's time for, dude. I think before we know it, it's going to be the NFL draft, and all of a sudden, everybody and anybody is going to be doing dynasty rookie drafts. So we're talking about all these rookies. I'm still writing them all up and trying to get even deeper and deeper into this class.
Well, tonight we are talking about the rookie sleepers that we believe are going to turn into dynasty gold, and I can't think of a better person to have on the show to talk this topic with. So I'll kick it right to you, DBro. We're going to lay the foundation for this conversation that we're about to have about rookie sleepers, but I wanted to give you a chance to talk about the class as a whole to give our audience, your perspective on it. So I wanted to ask you if you had to give it a letter grade in all your time covering all these classes, because like we get the temptation, like, oh my God, this class is awesome. Like as we get to close to the NFL draft, and parts of that are true, but there's always some nuance to be had. So if you had to give this class a letter grade, what grade would you give it, and why would you give it that grade?
I'm higher on this class than a lot of people, man, and I think like for different reasons. I think there's two positions that everybody wants to just automatically crap on this class about, and it's quarterback and wide receiver. And my pushback for all of this is, well, apparently you haven't watched the receivers well enough to love some of these guys. And how many first-round quarterbacks do you want? Do you think every single season is, we'd get 4 to 5, maybe 6 first-round quarterbacks? No. Okay, so then what the hell are we talking about? Like, I've got 3 first-round graded quarterbacks, and the wide receiver class, like I said, I think there's a lot of really good players in this class that are going to surprise people. I'm not as high on the tight end class as I think most people, maybe everybody. And I love the running back class just as much. So like, I'm going to give this class an A- right now, which might surprise people considering. And I feel like, you tell me this, boys, don't we do this shit every year where it's like, oh man, the 2026 class is going to be so good. And the closer we get to it, it's like 6 months out, 3 months out, 1 month out. I don't know. It's not that good. It's not what I thought it was going to be. Some players went back. The quarterbacks aren't and trying to like chop down every single draft class. Like that's how I kind of feel after doing this and prospecting for a few years. But I mean, you guys tell me if I'm wrong here.
No, I agree. I think we're seeing it kind of with Tet McMillan right now.
Everybody can't talk him down hard enough. I mean, they're all in a
Yeah.
race to be like, well, he's not actually that good, but we'll comp him to Drake London, who was a top 10 selection. Yeah. But Tet's not that good. He's not that good.
Yeah, because I think that, like, in a microcosm is the perfect example for this, because he's been the wide receiver one for the entire time leading up to this. And for some reason now, you hear bits and pieces of things coming out like, oh, maybe Luther Burden's the wide receiver one, or, we love Emeka Egbuka, but we're not putting Emeka Egbuka above, Tet McMillan. So I agree with you. I think a lot of times if you have to really pay attention to the people that you trust and really hold fast, because there's so much noise and confusion and stuff coming out all over the place. So what I would tell people is find people you trust. Dig into the tape yourself if you want to, because like we're going to talk about tonight, there's some players like, and you mentioned like the quarterbacks, like there's some quarterbacks that might be deeper options that I actually like Dylan Gabriel's one of them. Like I think he might be something, like he might go undrafted in a super flex league. Who knows? I mean, he's not
I
going to
like
cost you
Tyler
much to
Shuck
find out.
before some people tried to hype him to it as a first round pick. I never agreed with that, by the way, but he's
Yeah.
been my QB4 through the process before that was the sexy pick.
So you never know. Like you just never know like what can happen. Like there's some traits that we like from some of these players, but Matt Babich, chime in here. Me and Derek have been sucking up all the oxygen.
No, it's just, I haven't had much to add here. It's just kind of in full agreement. We seem to it's I've been harping on the content space a lot, and it's a little hypocritical as content creators ourselves, but we need something to talk about. That's the simple fact, and we're approaching the period where the content can be a little bit more actionable. We have the draft coming up. We've had the combine, and in between that, it's okay. Well, what's going to get clicks? All right. Well, Tet McMillan being bad, that's going to get clicks because projected to be, a top 10 pick in the mocks. We're comping him to Drake London. He's the wide receiver 1 for a lot of people. All right. We moved to hate. And someone starts talking about, Tyler Shuck, and, that gets blasted. And now everyone wants to be, talking about him. So that's kind of what happens. And I think we have been doing that to this rookie class where we're finding a lot of things to not like, and echoing DBro's sentiments on the receivers, where we get 10, 12 names down the list. Obviously the NFL draft is going to have a lot of weight here, but should chips fall in positive manners for a lot of these players, this class could be one of the more talent rich classes we've had in a few years. And so I agree.
Yeah,
So
I just feel like, to your point, sorry, I didn't want to
go for it.
their stuff, but like to your point, Babbage, like I'm going to lead this off with a quote from that I think is fantastic. I use it constantly, and it's from my dude Ray G. Be mindful of the content that you consume, and any of the content creators. And I'm not trying to flame anybody here. I'm not trying to do any of that, but I will just say as a blanket statement: if you find yourself giving people bad analysis just to get views and just to so you hit the algo, you need to do some different shit. Like you just need to get the hell out of here. Because I don't respect any of that shit. Like for me, it's like, okay, if that's a real take and where you sit as a position, that's fine. I've got a lot of differing opinions about prospects, and I do every single year. But if you're doing it to push a narrative or for a reason, then kindly let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. Bye.
I couldn't have said that better myself. On our last episode, well, I don't know if it counts or not, but Matt and I were talking about, players to trade your first round rookie pick for. And it seems like that's a topic that's blowing up. And it kind of made me mad, to be honest with you, because I thought, and you correct me if I'm wrong, DBro, because I respect your opinion on this, but I thought rookie picks, you wanted to hold on to them as long as possible. And I'm seeing all these videos pop up, and because they're good for the algorithm, and I understand that. Like we all want to do stuff that has a good chance of getting views. But like I saw some of these videos popping up 2 months before the NFL draft, and I'm just like, what's the rush here, guys? Like, I don't know. I thought the fundamentals of Dynasty were, let's hold on to these rookie picks until, a little bit closer to the NFL draft. Like, what's the rush to go out and trade them? I think it's maybe not, it's not irresponsible, but it's,
I don't disagree.
know. Okay.
I don't disagree with you with anything. If anything, I am on the exact opposite. If everybody is the popular thing, and this is not just to be polar opposite.
Yeah.
But I am firmly on this is the time to go out and acquire that, because all the sentiment is down on this class, and I freaking love this class. So like, give me your firsts, give me your late firsts, give me all your damn seconds. I'll gobble that shit up. I'm so here for it, dude. I'll take a guy, instead of trading him for a late first, give me 2 seconds. Like, I really like this class. And again, when sentiment is down, and we've done this. I mean, like anybody that's played Dynasty for multiple years knows that like there's a certain amount of attrition of just like we get a lot of shit wrong. Okay. I remember everybody hyping to hell and back Keon Coleman and a bunch of other freaking players that didn't hit in year one last year. And we're going to, and now that everybody is on the opposite side of hating this class, I'm like, dude, I really love this class and I love a lot of players in it. And I think this class is incredibly deep. Now, like always, the NFL draft is going to come squash a lot of that stuff. But I'm with you on the sense that like right now, I mean, I'm out in leagues right now trying to either acquire first round picks, which it's really easy to do. It's not hard to do. I agree with you on sitting on first round picks because that's a lot of questions I've had in the Fantasy Pros Discord. It's like, and I think it's kind of idle hands right now of people being like, well, I want to trade this guy for this guy or this or this or these. And I'm like, dude, like nothing is changing right now. No football is being played. We don't have landing spots for guys. Don't take lesser trades or do things just because you're bored. Like and a lot of it is like, should I trade away this veteran or should I trade away this guy? And I'm like, nothing's changing. If anything, you've got a chance right now to where guys can still accrue value once we get through the NFL draft. Now, can the flip side be true for that as well? Sure. But I think the bigger takeaway is like, there ain't no football being played and not for a while. So when you're in Dynasty, you're capitalizing on the ebbs and flows. And a lot of times it's going the opposite direction from where the consensus is. And right now, again, I think the consensus is this class is not that great, especially in the quarterback and wide receiver departments. And I'm like, bro, I like a lot of these guys. So I'm going to get late firsts. I'm going to go out and try to get seconds. I'm tearing up a few. That's the other thing I wanted to bring up. I think right now is a beautiful time to sit here and tear up your picks. Like if you're looking at your ranks versus the consensus rookie ECR on Fantasy Pros, and you're like, I want a shot at this guy, and you're kind of cherry picking guys where you see the difference in your two ranks. And it's like, well, shit, I've got the 10th. I got the 310. I'm not going to get that guy. He's probably going to go in a range of like the 301 to the 303 or the 304. Okay, fine. Trade that 310 and a fourth and see if you can get up or lump some, random, the DeMario Douglases of the world or whoever, pick your flavor of like roster clogger and go trade that player in the third and tear up a little bit. Get yourself into range where if you're doing the work ahead of time and they're like, okay, I like these guys on the board. Where are they going to be at? You can kind of position yourself right now to eventually draft some of these guys where like in a few weeks or post NFL draft, people are going to be like, once ECR kind of solidifies a little bit more on rookie ranks and that updates, you could lose some of that EV that you could take advantage of right now.
I like that point, and to quickly, it kind of somewhat tied into what I was thinking too, which is when we're selling rookie picks right now for players too, it's an interesting. You think you're getting a safer investment taking a player that is a quote unquote known commodity, but what is generally not talked about is the literal risk 1 month away of that player situation completely changing. When you have a pick, you have player X in mind. Player X gets drafted to a shitty situation. Okay, I pivot to player Y, or I trade up, I trade out. Similar to what DBro is saying, you can kind of create your own edge in your rookie draft rooms, especially if you're a more dedicated dynasty manager in a more casual league, which is what the average person watching these types of programs probably is. So you're already at advantage with the fact that you have your knowledge. So you create your own edge and you can find that value in this class and kind of create that benefit for yourself. And there's very little value in selling out of that right now.
Agreed. And I think the thing that you highlighted there that I think is fantastic is people being so self-assured that somebody's safe. I think that like, depending on what player specifically we're talking about, we can make cases for that. And I think that's true for some players, but it's also like, if you're trading, like, let's take two aging wide receivers right now. If you're trading for Chris Godwin versus Devontae Adams, one of those guys, you're like, I mean, everything sounds really positive. He re-signed with the Bucs. We know what to expect, but do we really know when he's going to be 100%? Do we really know when he's going to be on the field versus Devontae Adams isn't going to cost you near what Chris Godwin would in Dynasty? Now, I don't think it's like a giant Grand Canyon, but there is a division there. And it's like, shit, I know exactly what I'm getting out of Devontae Adams. I'll go trade for him because that is safe. And it's like, then there's upside there. versus, Chris Godwin in a lot of dynasty ranks, he's going to be ranked higher, where it's like, that ain't that safe, dude. We don't know.
This is a great conversation. And great, great stuff to be taken away here. But I want to get us on these rookies, and because we have a list of guys to get to, and I really want to get to that. So this is the topic for tonight. Which rookie sleepers will turn into Dynasty Gold? So I want to kick it to you, DBro. Who is your first sleeper?
I'm going deep here, boys. I'm going very deep. Now, again, talking about the difference between my ranks and the consensus ranks. Right now, I'm about to bring up a player to you that is the RB 14 in this class for me, in a very, very deep running back class. And I am projecting some because, again, we don't know draft capital. But if I'm just basing this off of talent, and again, once we do get draft capital, even if it does disappoint, then I'm still going to be getting this guy, even if he falls out of rookie drafts, which he might, dude. Like a lot of four-round rookie drafts, he might just not get drafted. If I'm in the room, he's getting drafted. But in a lot of aspects, he might not. And the first guy I'm going to bring up here is Marcus Yarns, running back out of Delaware. He is freaking fantastic, dude. I really like this kid. He went out to the combine, proof of concept, tested extremely well, strong RAS score. And the thing that I want to, there's a tier. We have a lot of archetypes in this class and just in players. And I think in this class, there's a lot of arbitrage plays. So if you say you really, really like Devin Neal, then maybe I could sell you on a volume runner later, maybe a Tahj Brooks later. If you like Bashal Tootin, maybe I could sell you on another guy later. Like Marcus Yarns is in this phylum of all these slasher 190 running backs that I really love from this class. We're going to talk about Jaydon Blue, very similar archetype with him, but I think Marcus Yarns is the arbitrage play to Jaydon Blue as a player that, yes, he's sub 200 pounds. The NFL has told us over the last 3 seasons, and this used to be a thing for me when I looked at prospects and I looked at rookies, like I would bump running backs down my board or shade them a little bit, not a ton, but a little bit. Like if it's a spot 2, 3, maybe drop up a tier based off of, are you 200 pounds? Are you 210 pounds? Because the NFL used to tell us that's kind of the archetype and the size threshold you got to meet to get a workhorse role. Well, guess what? Austin Eckler, Bucky Irving, Kyron Williams, James Cook, Jahmyr Gibbs. That's 6 dudes I just rattled off the top of my damn head that entered the NFL less than 200 pounds, and every NFL team rode them at some point for multiple seasons as a workhorse, and they said, we don't give a crap. So as dynasty gamers, we need to adjust to that. So while people are going to bump down running backs, still, I think they're working with outdated analysis because the NFL is telling us that size threshold doesn't matter as much. So Marcus Yarns coming in at the sub 200 pounds, I don't care. That doesn't matter to me. I understand he played FCS level. This guy tested extremely well. It shows up in his film. And what do we care about a ton that gives guys not only a floor but a ceiling in fantasy? Is freaking pass catching. Yarns is an awesome receiver, dude. Like I'm discussing a running back over the last 2 years out of all FCS and FBS running backs with at least 20 targets has finished 19th and 18th in yards per route run. You turn on the film, they could split him out wide, put him in the slot. He can run a decent route tree. And especially like we're talking about a running back, like you can run slants, you can run outs with him. He can run some traditional wide receiver stuff as a pass game weapon. So bringing this all back, it's not like he's a schlub on the early downs, dude. Like 84th percentile 10-yard split. He's more quick than fast, but he was pretty fast at the combine. And again, going back to that sample size of all the FBS and FCS running backs, at least 100 carries last year, and it's a crap ton of them. Last year, Marcus Yarns, 22nd in yards after contact per attempt. Yeah, third, fourth round of rookie drafts? Hell yes! Give me this guy all day, every day.
You're muted, Seth.
I pulled the Matt Babbage in this episode. That's my
Yeah,
bad.
that's around the FP streets. That's called the Joey P. Just throwing that out there.
That's the Joey P. All right, I figured. But that's such a good call because these players, and I thought you brought up a good one, Austin Eckler. Like some of these players that go to smaller schools, we kind of forget about them. And Marcus Yarns, all he's done throughout the entire process is impress. Senior Bowl, combine, check, college production, receiver. You mentioned it. So that's a good one to bring up because honestly, like Marcus Yarns was on my radar because I do this a lot. Like I look into these prospects, but for somebody who isn't as plugged in, like you might have, Marcus Yarns from Delaware. Oh, okay. Now he's off my radar again, Matt Babbage, anything to add before we move on to your rookie sleeper?
Yeah, I'll kind of just segue right into it because pretty much kind of lockstep in thinking about the 190-ish RB profile with pass catching chops. So first of all, credit to you, Seth, as well, because I believe it was either in November or December. So one of our earlier shows while we were talking rankings, you brought up Marcus Yarns as someone to put on your radar. You even introduced him to me there. So you've been on Marcus Yarns for quite a while. As such, I will go ahead and talk about somebody who I've been speaking about since November. So we're talking about a sleeper show. I'd be remiss if I did not bring up Brashard Smith. So we'll start with
fantastic call, by the way, Babbage. I love so much that you put his name on this list that I hate the fact that you're talking about him. He is. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
This is a wonderful name.
I watched, this was, closer to the end of the season. It was the first SMU game I had watched. First time I had heard Brashard Smith's name. And the second I watched him, I was like, this dude can play. So I started looking up more into him. And funny enough, it is almost uncanny that this happens the year after Tyrone Tracy excels in the NFL in his rookie season, because like Tyrone Tracy, Brashard Smith was a receiver at Miami, transfers to SMU, and was a first-year running back last year. Responds in the ACC with 1329 rushing on over 230 carries, 18 total touchdowns, nearly 40 receptions, 39, and 327 receiving yards. He was on a playing field with Clemson in the ACC title game, had a good showing. Not the best showing necessarily against Penn State, but they were down all game. What do you want him to do on the ground? So, and from a box score perspective and from a fantasy perspective, didn't even have that bad of a game versus Penn State. I believe he cracked 10 points, but don't quote me on that. But going back to the advanced stats and metrics profile, 97th percentile 40. That small frame does knock that down to a 78th percentile speed score, but that still means his size adjusted speed is bordering on elite. You can call maybe even 75th plus percentile elite, depending on your thresholds, but 72nd percentile college dominator rating and 62nd percentile yards per carry per player profiler. So he came in to a big school right away and had upper percentile shares of his team's total offensive production and upper percentile rushing efficiency. Not only that, but when you look at the film, he looks the part. His vision and patience are very polished for someone playing this position at the collegiate level for the first time. There's plenty of room to grow there, particularly in terms of ball security and how he rushes in that aspect. He gets a little overconfident with the ball, runs a little loose. And pass protection, that's another knock on him, but smaller back. Again, pass protection's a lot of strength and will. So just because you're under 200 pounds, similar to what DBro said about just because you're under 200 pounds doesn't mean you can't be a volume rusher or even a goal line rusher. It also doesn't mean you cannot pass block. It's just going to be something that may limit his playing time early on. But his natural receiving chops give him that other edge, especially in PPR. Because he, especially being a member of the backfield and not a receiver, it empowers him with alignment versatility and will create a lot of mismatches that are going to lead to valuable targets. So my last prayer, I've been saying it all off season, NFL, please take Brashard Smith day 2 so I can be happy. Don't let another one of these backs fall to the 5th round.
Dude, I love everything you said about Brashard Smith, and just to layer a little bit more on top of that, he was second in receiving grade last year, 22nd in yards per route run. He was also 34th in breakaway run rate. So like that 4.39 speed shows up in the analytics. And I don't know where you guys have him ranked, but I have Brashard Smith as a top 10 running back in the loaded class. He's my RB9. I freaking love Brashard Smith.
Let's see. Let's ruin this podcast by counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have him as RB8. That's where I have him.
Dude, we are way above consensus because right now I'm looking at consensus rookie rankings on Fantasy Pros. He is RB16. I think that's firmly going to change. Like, I think the conversation for probably the consensus starts at like RB13, but as we're kind of highlighting here, that's still way too damn low.
Yeah, I mean, that's Matt Babbitt. I cannot really add much more to what Matt Babbitt said. That was we're gonna have to clip that and put it as a YouTube short or something. That was incredible. Yep. I'll go ahead and nominate somebody that we had John Lobb on this program, and John Lobb's been doing this, God, for 12 years, and he turned me on to Tai Felton, and this will be real simple. In the Big Ten, if you can have a season like he had with over 1,100 receiving yards, playing against some of the competition that he played against with the quarterback play that he had, it's impressive. And then I wasn't expecting this. I don't know. Maybe some people saw this coming, but then the combine to run a 4.37 40-yard dash, a 1.51 10-yard split at 6'1", 183 pounds. He's a little bit light at 183 pounds, but I still think he's a pretty good prospect, especially where he's potentially going to go in rookie drafts. And then you look at some of the other metrics. PFF number 27 in receiving grade. Oh, that doesn't sound that impressive, but then when you look at Luther Burden, he's tied with Luther Burden in receiving grade this year. I know Luther Burden didn't have the greatest of seasons with Missouri, but still, I still think that's impressive. And he's a primarily outside receiver. 70% of his snaps were out wide, 30% in the slot. And he's just one of these guys that throughout the process, the tape really has really shown me that I think he's a really good player, and he's gotten better and better and better every single year. So he's one of these guys. He didn't break out early, but especially technically, I think he's gotten a lot better as a player from year to year. And yeah, I would be shocked if I think he's probably going to be either a 3rd or 4th round rookie pick.
Yeah, I agree with what you said, Seth. I'd say I like Tai Felton, and there's a lot to like to his game. I don't love Tai Felton, but I like him a lot. One of the things that I think could also help him in the NFL, if you just see how his entire overall skill set kind of matches up. He's a guy and I'm going back through this. I want to say my comp for him and exactly stylistically is what I kind of see for the NFL for him is he's a guy that he reminds me of Trey Palmer as a guy that I think probably could go move to the slot in the NFL, and that would probably be a very good thing for him. Just when you see he was asked to stretch the field in Maryland, some of the route nuance is kind of lacking to kind of get separation, consistently stacking guys. But he does uncover quickly. He excels versus zone coverage. Wide receivers, you want to see that kind of merriment between them and the quarterback's feel, and when you're supposed to sit down routes, when you need to carry it over, and that it basically everything that entails. So I think Felton is a guy that he would benefit a good bit, and I actually kind of think that he'll probably transition to being a slot receiver in the NFL.
Interesting. All right. Our sleeper number 2. I'll throw it right back to DBro. Who is number 2 for you?
All right, so I got to give my guy, first of all, I'd heard the name, but was not really on my high list of guys to watch. So I'm going to lead this off with giving a shout out to my dude, Brett Whitefield over at Fantasy Points, because he was like, look, man, a lot of the things that I'm looking at, this guy's popping. And I was like, I hadn't even, and then I pulled up the numbers and stuff. And, whether we want to start, everybody kind of looks at rookies different. Whether you want to start like with the analytical profiles, or you're a film guy, or you mix and match like I do and try to build just the most comprehensive look at a player's skill set that you can. Badger was somebody like, I was like Elijah Badger. So wide receiver out of Florida was somebody that I was like, man, after talking to Brett and then looking at his analytics, I actually just got done watching him this afternoon, like prior to taping this. I really like this kid. And I think there's a lot of context that needs to be had with his game. But when we're discussing a player that last year amongst all FBS wide receivers, at least 50 targets, he was 29th in receiving grade, 14th in yards per route run. You pull up band coverage metrics, he pops there. You pull up other metrics too, because his role, so not only for everybody that's not familiar with Elijah Badger's kind of career arc, he was at Arizona State for 3 years, transferred to Florida in his final season, and was used absolutely and totally different in a different role than what he had been asked to do at Arizona State. Like, we're discussing a player that in his 3 years at A-State, his ADOT was 9.5, 10.2, and 7.3. And especially in that final season, like a lot of run after catch stuff. And he was really damn good at it, man. Like in 2023, 8.4 yak per reception. This guy in 2022 and 2023, amongst all FBS guys, again, going back to the same sample size, ranked 3rd and 7th in missed tackles force. And I'm like, shit, this dude's popping in a ton of different ways. It's like, no matter what kind of nerd numbers we're looking at, it's like, oh, there's Elijah Badger. Oh, there's Elijah Badger. And then he goes out and he tests well at the combine. I just kind of feel bad for Elijah Badger in his final year at Florida, like in his final collegiate season at Florida, because the quarterback play was absolutely god awful. Like, you turn on the tape and Mertz is like missing him on just route after route after route. And this guy was used as a deep threat in this offense. And you're just like, holy shit, good luck, man. Like, you're not getting ball placement. You're beating guys on routes and it's all over his tape. Like, he's really freaking talented, man. And I think that you look at what he did in his final season and the role that he played, he proved that he can get deep and he can be used as a deep threat. Any NFL team, if I was running an NFL front office, I would be like, we are earmarking this dude and we're going to put him into a Debo-esque role in our offense. We're going to put the ball in his hands. And that's not to say that he can't run a full route tree, because he can. But what I'm saying is, where does he succeed? Dude, he's proven the proof of concept 2 years, 2 of his last 3 years before the role change of Florida. He could break some damn tackles and he's strong and he's physical. The upper body strength is definitively there. You see that in his routes. You're not pushing him off a route. You see at the top of his stem, he's pushing off, getting leverage, bodying dudes, and he's strong at the freaking catch point, man. A player that I'm not hearing anybody talk about out here in the space, and he is buried in rankings in what we are calling a terrible wide receiver class. Elijah Badger, dude, he's my wide receiver 13 right now. Like, he's got the profile. Like, I've got him over Savion Williams. I got him over Tai Felton, Kyle Williams, Deontay Thornton Jr., Tez Restrepo, who's somewhere still in the ether running a 40 right now. I mean, I just look at this guy and I'm like, dude, if he would have gone to a better program in his final season that would have kept him in the same role that he had operated at Arizona State, or if he had decent quarterback play, he would have put up better counting stats and people would be discussing him in a very different light. Because again, we go back to it. It's not like he proved he was a schlub, but he walked away with a damn 9.3 RAS. He ran a 4.43 40 at the combine. Like, he's physical. He's got some testing. Like, he went to an SEC school. Like, for all the parts or pieces, I'm like, shit, people should be talking about this dude more than they are.
I love the deep cut. And, that's what we bring you on for. And looking at his just his stats here on Player Profiler, one thing that sticks out to me that I know their breakout finder is going to love is that it appears that he was also a special teams guy, even at Arizona State and a little bit at Florida as well.
Yep.
That type of versatility, that stuff matters to NFL front offices. So when it comes time to select a player, and they're confident that a guy in Elijah Badger could at minimum be a contributor to special teams, not only does that help his draft stock, but it also helps him get playing time on the field and get into, build a relationship with his coaches quicker. So that's great points there, and someone who I'm going to have to turn the film on a little bit more and get to know Elijah Badger.
That's a really good call out too, Babbage. Again, put some more shine on Elijah's name. 578 kick return yards. Dude averaged 28.9 yards per kick return in 2023. So yeah,
seems pretty good.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah, like Matt said, that's somebody we're gonna have to dig up the all 22 and fire up the tape on that guy, because to be honest with you, and this is why I love these conversations, I haven't watched the film on him yet, so that's gonna be something I have.
Up until today, I hadn't either, so we're all kind of in the same boat, dude.
Yeah, so I love these conversations though, but Matt Babbage, you son of a gun, you stole this player from all of us. Go ahead and tell it.
Yeah, this one you can again see the door, bro.
Yeah. All right, well, I'll leave you an opportunity.
I saw this name and I was like, oh damn it! This is a guy. Go ahead. This is a guy I love.
He was, no joke too. He was someone who was floating kind of in a certain tier in my rankings. Didn't know a lot about him yet. Hadn't dove in. And then I saw the combine edit from where he ran the 40, and then it just transitioned to him breaking an 80-yard touchdown for UCF. And I was like, I need to get to know RJ Harvey. And ever since I made that decision, I have just fallen deeper and deeper and deeper in love with this running back. So I mentioned the combine video. Yes, we all know this dude's really fast. Ran what was the exact time? 4.440. It's 91st percentile speed score for his 5'8", 205 frame. Also has an 89th percentile burst score and 96th percentile college dominator rating. 2 straight years over 1,400 yards rushing, 1,577 last year. Let's see, 43 total touchdowns over the last 2 years. Again, sounds pretty good. If we want to round up from 19 to 20 in 2023, 3 straight years with 20 receptions, or we can cheat and say he averaged 20 receptions a season, and over 215 receiving yards every season. So that is all phases: volume rusher, efficient rusher, scoring touchdowns, and he's reliable in the pass game. Not just, the check downs and things like that. Like, they're running designed wheel routes to get him into open space. This is somebody who, yes, played against some softer competition, but that's where the numbers being so massive. And that's why film matters too. Like, you got to be able to see that and be able to look at the film and say, yeah, this isn't bullshit. Like, this dude has actual talent. And when you turn on the film, that's exactly what you see. His vision and change of direction are really what drive his ability. The speed to break away is the icing on the cake. But man, it seems like you got to get 2 people in the backfield to tackle RJ Harvey for a loss. Now, this may not be the best comp. I'm not a comper. That's not what I do.
I got a good one for you. So let's hear it.
But I saw him. I was watching today. I was prepping for the show. I was like, who does he remind me of? He reminds me of someone. Kind of reminds me of Ray Rice.
Okay, I could see it. My working comp for him is Aaron Jones.
Okay.
I think that's a fair comp. I think Ray Rice, there's
I think he's got more burst than Rice. But I see it as far as body type and like functional speed to power. Like, I see it in a lot of different, because the other thing is, like, he's not a big guy. Like, he's 5'9" in the low 2s. So, like, people might not think that he runs as tough as he does, or he breaks as many tackles as he does, but he's got some physicality and get nasty. Like, if he needs to drop a shoulder in a short yardage situation, RJ Harvey could definitively do it. Now, I have to counterpoint, because I'm going to be the voice of consensus right now. Babbage, aren't you worried that he's 24 years old in the dynasty circles with a running back? Doesn't that frighten you? It shouldn't, but does it?
No. Sounds like I got 3 years.
Thank you. Because none of us should freaking care about that. If a running back earns a second contract in the NFL, kudos. All we care about, and you're playing Dynasty in a 2 to 3 year window. If RJ Harvey goes in round 3 of the NFL draft, he performs as soon as he hits the ground running in the NFL. So you get 4 years of awesome play out of RJ Harvey. What the hell else are you wanting? because you're playing in like active dynasty leagues. Most of the guys on your roster are not even on your team after 2 or 3 years. You're trading, you're churning your roster and stuff like that. So what are we talking about? 4 to 5 years down the road? And now the NFL is showing they're more likely to give contracts to older running backs. Like we just saw Saquon got extended until he's going to be in the nursing home. Aaron Jones is still rocking it at age 30. Derrick Henry is still rolling around here. Like the NFL is changing, boys, and we need to change with it. But like, I just don't know what the expectations are if you're going to fade an ultra talented, awesome running back that, again, we haven't even given context to. The reason that he's older is not because he stayed in school because he sucked. It's because the COVID year, he got hurt, and he's a former quarterback. So all of these parts or pieces, again, should give people even more love for RJ Harvey. Dude, he's my RB5 of the class. Has been before the combine and is after the combine. I freaking love RJ Harvey. We're talking about so many loveless guys for me in this episode.
And this is his career too. You know, like do you think that if RJ Harvey could have exited and entered the draft process with a good stamp on his name and a good evaluation on his name as a junior, he would have? Like, absolutely he would have. But that's just not the situation.
But that takes common sense. A lot of people don't put 2 and 2 together too. Like in these dynasty streets, everybody's like, and I think, and this is kind of just the evolving narrative or like how my evolution of looking at players. And we used to all talk about early breakout age and early career production and age adjusted production. I get that. And I'm not saying it's still not part of the pie, but it ain't nearly the part of the pie or what you should be focusing on nowadays in the days of we're still dealing with COVID. That's still part of players that's still part of a lot of players' stories and why they stayed in college longer and things like that. So we're still dealing with that as well as NIL. So you're telling me any of these guys are like, well, I mean, damn it, I can make $1 million right now and put that in my pocket before I go to the NFL. And you're telling me I project the draft capital as I'm discussing with like getting a feel for should I do that is the 4th or 5th round of the NFL draft. Well, hell no. I'm going to stay in college another year, get my $1 million, pocket that. Hopefully I ball out and maybe my draft capital is better. And if it's not, guess what? I still got $1 million in my bank account that I didn't have before. So a lot of that stuff, when we're all talking about how we're looking at players and classes and stuff, I'm not telling you that I'm not going to fade like a freaking 26-year-old running back or a wide receiver or something like that. But we got to give context to all this and how you're going to discuss it. And the point that you made that led me down this tangent is we need to understand that some of these guys, if their draft capital doesn't look good or they don't have the guy that I always go back to, and people would say it about this is with Christian Watson. And when he came out and they were like, well, he's an older guy and bro, he went to FCS. Do you think his projected draft capital would have been good if he'd have come out instead of going to the Senior Bowl and putting teams on watch and blowing up and going in the second round of the NFL draft? Do you think if he'd have stayed come out of college a year earlier from an FCS school, he would have had a better draft capital? Okay, no, then shut the hell up. Like, give some context to this and understand that these kids can stay in for their own reasons and it'd be a good thing and not a damning thing to their profile when we want to inject some common sense.
Some kids just want to get a degree even. Like
fair, that too.
They're in college.
Or they want to chase a national championship. If they're on a real, like those are all part of it. So like, we need to understand that and also layer it in and not be like, oh, check out a box. Oh, he's old. Pink. Oh, he didn't come out after his blow up junior year. Pink. Gonna knock him down. That's gonna work out well. No, it's not.
Yeah, I think anytime that somebody is just dismissing a player because they're 24, it doesn't meet the framework that I've constructed that is what a good player should be. Red flag should just be because everything's there. Like there's context to everything. The world is constantly changing. The NFL is constantly changing, and if we're not trying to evolve,
years old already,
if we're not trying to. Yeah, if we're not trying to if we're not trying to change our process and grow with the changing landscape around us, then I think that's a mistake. And
you're going to give people outdated advice that's not really going to help them as much in the year 2025 as maybe would have helped people in the year 2022.
Yes, exactly. And I'm gonna bring up my second guy here, and you guys let me know what you think of this. Oronde Gadsden II from Syracuse. He's a tight end, and there's the Lovelands, the Tyler Warrens, the Mason Taylors, Elijah Arroyo. I'm missing one. I
Oh,
can't
come
think.
on. You got to talk about Harold Fannin. Everybody's talking about
Harold
Fannin.
Harold Fannin. Yeah, I had a brain fart. I couldn't think of his name. But Gadsden, 6'5", 243, was very productive at Syracuse. Kind of had an injury get in the way, really. I mean, in 2022, 61 catches or caught 61 passes, 975 yards, 6 touchdowns. Then he had a Liz Frank injury that shortened his 2023 season. But then, coming off that injury, had another monster year, 73 catches, 934 yards, 7 touchdowns. And like, and then you go to PFF and you see that like his numbers are a lot higher than what we're talking about right now. Like he's not going to be a liability in the blocking game like some of these other tight ends are going to be. And so you have the production, you have some of the metrics that we care about. He's probably not going to blow you away with his athleticism, but he's not unathletic either. Like he's still pretty fast and pretty agile for a tight end. Purely simply, like he's one of the more well-rounded tight ends I think in this class that nobody is talking about. And when I say nobody's talking about him, like I looked it up on Keep Trade Cut, and maybe this isn't current because this was like a week ago. Player numbered 449. So he's probably going to go undrafted in your if you were doing a dynasty startup right now, he'd go undrafted. And when it comes to the tight end position as a whole in dynasty, like I want to take shots on these guys later in my draft, and Oronde Gadsden is definitely going to be somebody that I look to target, and I think somebody that potentially could go a little bit higher in the draft than we think, just because when you look at the PFF stuff, it's pretty impressive. Like his grades are actually a lot higher than most people would think, so I like him a lot.
I agree. I think that and he's 59th ranked over on Fantasy Pros ECR for rookies. I've got him as my 40th overall player. So he's definitely, I mean, if you're following my ranks in rookie drafts, you'll be getting him in the 4th round. You get exposure to him and stuff. And like, dude, I think I haven't finalized my tight end ranks. I've kind of been going back and forth. I've got a few more write-ups to get through the top 10. I've already watched Oronde and haven't like officially written him up for the site yet. I love everything that you laid out there, Seth. And the other thing about Oronde is like he's not carrying the hype of the player that I'm about to mention. But tell me how Oronde Gadsden isn't actually more proof of concept and more NFL applicable Harold Fannin Jr. Because Harold Fannin Jr. went out, put up the testing numbers, legendary numbers, all that kind of stuff at freaking Bowling Green. Oronde Gadsden's coming from a smaller school, didn't put up the video game numbers, but you look at his size is better, his weight's better. We can project him more to an inline role. He's actually more athletic. He freaking ran a 4.65 versus in the mid 4.7s for Harold Fannin. And again, we're talking about a player that Harold Fannin, it's big wide receiver. Oronde is that, but we got some proof of concept with him as an inline guy last year in his final year at Syracuse. Like, if you look at just his usage prior to 2024, he had only 8 snaps total in 3 years, 8 snaps total inline. They bumped that all the way up. He played 32.6% of his snaps in line in 2024 at Syracuse. So we're discussing a similar archetype to Harold Fannin that tested better, is more athletic. The tape and the film and stuff like that, we could kind of parse through for days. Like they both got shortcomings or pluses to their game. Like Oronde is not giving you much after the catch. He's not breaking a lot of tackles. He's not physical in that sense. But he's in that Loveland mold where he moves more like a wide receiver. He's got the speed to stretch the seam and stuff. You really like, you could do things with him and he's going to excel versus zone coverage. I don't know if he's necessarily a guy that you can take him to that elite tier and say, okay, can we line him up out wide? Can he beat man coverage? Can he do those types of things as a versatile tight end and a move piece in an offense? But can he do everything else? Can he be what everybody wants Harold Fannin Jr. to be? I think that like we've got more proof that he can play more in line than we're still like the jury is still firmly out on Harold Fannin. So like again, right now I sound like I'm just dealing an absolute crazy sauce, but I got Oronde Gadsden as my tight end 6 in this class over Harold Fannin, who's my tight end 7. So I'm with you.
Yeah. I like I said, when you turn on the film, when you look at PFF, when you like you said, 183 inline snaps, 32.6%. You know, he's got some versatility to his game, and like I said, he's not. I don't think he's a fantastic blocker, but he's also not a liability in that sense.
No,
so
he's
he's
serviceable.
Just,
he's serviceable. You're limited. Like, do you want to put Oronde in line and ask him to go pass pro right now outside of chipping guys and then running a route? Like, you want to ask him to get in line and anchor and hold down a defensive end for 4 to 5 seconds for a quarterback to have time? Hell no, you don't want to do that. But can you use him to chip and go run a route? Can you use him to set the edge and run in rushing plays? Can he hold his own? He's not a people mover, but does he have enough functional strength where he can hold his own for long enough for the play to happen, for the quarterback to have a cleaner pocket, for the running back to have an open lane? Yeah, he could do all that. We're still kind of wondering, can Harold Fannin do all of that? Like,
yeah. Well, let's do one more round. We might have to, just for time's sake, I hate to cut this short, but just for time's sake, maybe 2 minutes or less, if we can do that on a rapid fire-esque sort of round. So, DBro, you have one more guy that we each came up with 3 rookie sleepers. So tell us about your next sleeper.
Last guy I'm going to bring up here. I love him. I hate the fact that he's coming out in this deep running back class, but it's Tahj Brooks, man, out of Texas Tech. My comp for him is Dameon Pierce, and I think that firmly envelopes his strengths and him as an archetype of a player. He's a volume rusher. He is much better in the passing game than any of his surface metrics, his yards per route run, all that kind of stuff, were going to lead you to believe. Like, this dude's got moments where he runs wheel routes. There's one route, I forget which game it is. He runs up the damn seam and catches the one-handed ball over his damn shoulder, and he could track the ball downfield. A player that's not going to wow you with his athleticism, but he is plenty enough athletic. He's proven he can handle volume. And if he wasn't behind Texas Tech's doo-doo butter offensive line in 2024, his tackle breaking metrics would look probably closer to what they did in 2023 when he was 60th in yards after contact per attempt and 37th in PFF elusive rating. So I hate the fact that this class is so freaking deep, but some team is going to get a steal with Tahj Brooks in probably round 5.
Yeah, I echo that sentiment. I really like Tahj Brooks. I think I have him at RB 13 or 14. I'd have to bring it up again, but
he's a really damn good pass protector, dude. That's another thing. Like, again, we talk about 3-down ability.
It's so big.
He's in the same tier of like all my love list guys right now. Like, I've got him at, only because of draft capital, but I've got him in tier 5 with Marcus Yarns, Darquez Hunter, Jaydon Blue, and he's right behind them, and Trevor Etienne. So he's at RB 17 right now. But post NFL draft, he gets a damn good running back, like a landing spot. Shit, man, I could jump him up all the way to RB 13 or 12 and not even blink.
Matt Babbage
class. It's incredible.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about a tight end very similar, Seth, to your selection. Terrance Ferguson. Funny enough, virtually the same build from a height weight perspective as Gadsden. He is more athletic, a little bit faster, and has a much better burst. The converse of that is that the box score stats don't really look great for Ferguson, never eclipsing 600 yards in his 3 college seasons. But what he did boast last year was 9 yards after the catch per reception last year, and that was first among tight ends with at least 50 targets per player profiler. So there is some move to his game We watched him at the Senior Bowl. There's some film where you could see that he has the ability to even put his foot in the ground, take a step back and watch the defender fly in front of him. So he can kind of put his foot in the ground a little bit. He can move after the catch. I think similarly to what we were discussing with Gadsden, this is not somebody who I'm going to trust to be an anchor blocker, but certainly more serviceable than Harold Fannin. And so I echoed those concerns about Fannin a few weeks back on, how is he actually going to be used in the NFL level? And I think Ferguson is somebody who has a shot at being used like a more traditional tight end, which probably means that more playing time, more snaps, more targets for Terrance Ferguson. So Ryan Heath of Fantasy Points charted out, a great follow and an analyst, by the way, if you don't follow him, charted out tight end yards per game and Fantasy Points Spork athleticism score, which grouped Ferguson with tight ends such as Sam Laporta, Jonnu Smith, TJ Hawkinson, David Njoku, Evan Ingram, Kyle Pitts. For fairness, he was also grouped with Greg Dulcich, Jelani Woods, Luke Musgrave, and a few other busts, but is a very intriguing list of prospects to be paired up with. He had a great showing at the Senior Bowl, surely improving his draft stock, which makes more sense once we examine the profile and we see, 6'5", near the 250. And then when we actually look into those advanced metrics that I mentioned for the athleticism, 86th percentile speed score, 94th percentile burst score, 90th percentile catch radius. He could be a red zone weapon for a team. And it was second among this tight end class in overall athleticism per player profiler. So someone like that, especially in tight end premium, like him and Gadsden, I feel like they're players you really have to just throw darts on later in drafts. They're going to be pretty close to free.
If you want to know nothing else that should flavor the type of Kool-Aid that you're looking at for tight ends, just go back to how good athletes are these guys. You do not see, like, it is the most highly correlated position to just raw athleticism in all of fantasy. You will not see an elite tight end be a schlub in the gym. You will not see them be unathletic. If a guy runs over a 4.8 40, it's a coffin nail. You don't even draft him, but don't put him on your board and tight end. If he's a 4.7 guy, he's going to need a shit ton of volume to probably get there in fantasy. You're thinking Zach Ertz and stuff like that. But all of your elite tight ends are all stupid aliens in the gym. So, like, if you want nothing else, and the reason I go back to all this is Terrance Ferguson emphatically checks that box. So even if you don't want to follow anything else at the tight end position in fantasy, just follow the testing metrics.
It's such a great point. To close it out here, I'm going to nominate a guy, and I'll admit that he's not a complete picture, at least not to me, but he does do a few things well. He's very fast. He's elusive, at least from what I see on tape. And he caught 42 passes this year. And for somebody who only had 134 rush attempts and only 214 rush attempts for his entire college career because he played at Texas, I'm not going to ding him for that because he played at Texas, stuck it out at Texas, and that's Jaydon Blue. Now, Cody Carpentier, who covers the Texas Longhorns, gave us like an inside scoop on Jaydon Blue. Like, maybe he's not the most, how should we put this? I don't know. Like, he thinks he's really good. Like, according to Cody, like but you kind of have to think you're good, don't you, to succeed at the NFL? So I kind of like that, honestly. And Cody, if you're watching, I love you. But Jaydon Blue, I wanted to talk about Jaydon Blue when he came on, but he kind of bullied me out of talking about him. But I'm talking about him right now, God damn it. So 4.38 40-yard dash, 1.52 10-yard split. And he's that prototype that you mentioned at the top of the program, DBro. The smaller pass-catching running back. Like, he doesn't have to be a bell cow running back. He's not going to be a bell cow running back. We know this.
Why can't he be? Tell me that. Why can't he be, though?
I mean, I suppose he could be. Like, chances are he probably won't be.
No, but he's the same archetype of all the guys that I mentioned, too. Like, basically, like tell me, what is the big difference between, okay, maybe draft capital when he comes out? What is the big difference, Seth, between Jaydon Blue and James Cook as collegiate prospects? What is it?
I'm right there with you. Like I mean,
Similar
we don't
archetype,
want
dude.
to. We would go here. I mean, like, yeah, he's Jaydon Blue, 5'9", 196. I believe James Cook was like 199. Like Jahmyr Gibbs under about 200 pounds, right? Devon Chain, a guy that is on my radar.
Yep.
A guy that's on my radar this year. He's coming off of an injury, but Keaton Mitchell, same story. Like Keaton Mitchell didn't play very long before he got injured, but I think he was averaging like 100 yards a carry. Like it was ridiculous. So like these are the kinds of RB prototype running backs that I'm willing to take a chance on. And while I'll admit to you that, you know, there's some holes in his game, there's some things he probably needs to clean up. He's got a lot of juice. He's got a lot of speed and athleticism, and he's got the pass catching chops that he displayed this year at Texas. Like at Texas, 730 rushing yards, 42 catches for 368 yards is really impressive considering what they have, because they're loaded just every year. So Jaydon Blue for me is and that we did it, guys. That's 9 sleepers for the people. Like guys that are for sure going probably 3rd round. Like Brashard Smith maybe sneaks into the 2nd round, maybe. I don't know. But I don't know.
He'd have to have the nuts
insane draft
for
capital.
him.
Yeah. All these guys are going to go like 4th round of rookie drafts. Maybe some of them up, half of them might not even be drafted. So guys that are going to be like, you need to be trading into the back end of your rookie drafts to snag all these guys.
Yeah. Well, we can't thank you enough, Derek, for coming on the show. Plug anything you have to plug at Fantasy Pros. What's going on there right now?
Whew, man. Again, just getting deeper and deeper into the weeds for all of the prospects. I think so. Before the clock strikes midnight and the NFL draft is live and picks are flying off the board, I will have my top 100 players, just skill players for fantasy. So 100 guys out of this class with full write-ups live on the site. My mock 2.0, which is a full 2 rounds, just went live this week. That's up on the site as well. It's my pinned tweet up on X. And yeah, dude, I'm going through, I'm updating positional primers. My wide receiver primer just got a spit shine with comps, stats, reordering guys, finalizing rankings before the NFL draft. So all the parts or pieces, man. And if anybody, enjoyed this show and stuff like that, I mean, obviously they need to be continuing to check out y'all's content, and as well hit up the NFL draft show on Fantasy Pros. It's on the Dynasty feed, and every episode is up on YouTube. We had Theo Grimminger now with Fantasy Points. Stop by and talk tight end class. But again, appreciate the time, guys. This was freaking fantastic. And I was fighting you guys like beforehand, like, I was like, damn it, man. They took all my favorite guys. I love this so much.
Theo's the man. I worked
Theo's
with Theo.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Awesome guy.
I worked with Theo for 2 years at Player Profiler. Yeah.
Love that dude.
He's the best. So I can't say enough good things about Theo. But thank you again, DBro. Go follow him at Twitter if you haven't already at DBro_FFB. Go follow Matt Babbage on Twitter at Babbage_Matt10. You can follow the Dynasty Roundtable on Twitter at FF Dynasty Table on Twitter. You can follow me if you want at @SethDiewold_DIEWOLD, not Dieworld, Dewald on Twitter. And until next time, everybody. Nobody cares about Aaron Rodgers. I don't care if he signs with Pittsburgh. They shouldn't sign Aaron Rodgers. Like, he should be banished to the Canadian Football League at this point. Who cares? Nobody does. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.